friends, it's Miss Julie here from the Deerfield Public Library. Thanks so much for joining me for another story time. I just quickly wanted to point out that you might notice that I'm not wearing a mask. I just wanted to let you know that the only reason I'm not wearing one is because I'm here safe in my house, just with my family. But if you come in a few weeks once the library reopens, you'll see me with a mask on, because that's how I help keep you and everyone else safe. And I'm sure you and your family member that you come in with will be wearing them too to help keep everyone else safe. So I just wanted to mention that before I forget. Anyways, today we're going to be reading stories about animals that you might find when you go to the zoo. So I'm going to show you some friends, and you yell really loudly as you can so I can hear you all the way in my house what the animal is. And you can even make the sound the animal makes. So first I have my friend here. Do you know what this is? You're right, it's a lion! We know lions make the roar sound. Next we have my friend. These guys are really tall. Can you guess? You're right, it's a giraffe. Next, these guys are really big. It's a, good job, a hippo. Here's another animal that makes kind of a growling, roaring, snarling noise. It's a, you're right, a tiger with its famous stripes. This is also a popular one. This is a, good job, you're right, it's a zebra. And last but not least, squawk, squawk, we have the parrots. So those are just some examples. There's many others, but those are some that you might be most familiar with. So our first book about animals you might see in a zoo is called Biggest, Strongest, Fastest by Steve Jenkins. He wrote it and did illustrations, and it's published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Publishing Company. Animals live all around us. They crawl, walk, run, hop, swim, and fly. Some animals are too small to see without a microscope. Others, like the blue whale, are bigger than a house. There are animals that move as fast as a car and animals that would need half an hour to cross a room. Here are some of the biggest and smallest, fastest and slowest, strongest and longest animals. They are the record holders of the animal world. The African elephant is the biggest land animal. The largest elephant ever measured was more than 13 feet tall and weighed 22,000 pounds. An African elephant eats over 300 pounds of grass or leaves every day. The strongest animal for its size is the ant. An ant can carry 5 times its own weight. A strong man can carry something that weighs about as much as he does. So ants are really strong. The tallest animal is the giraffe. Male giraffes grow as tall as 19 feet. The females are a little shorter. With their great height and long, flexible necks, giraffes can eat leaves that other grazing animals cannot reach. The blue whale is the biggest animal that has ever lived. A blue whale can grow up to be 110 feet long and weigh over 168 tons, as much as 20 elephants. Even the biggest dinosaur was smaller than a blue whale. The Etruscan shrew, the world's smallest mammal, could sleep in a teaspoon. From the tip of its nose to the end of its tail, this shrew was only 2.5 inches long. It weighs about as much as a ping pong ball. The smallest bird is the bee hummingbird. The bee hummingbird is an acrobatic flyer that is only 3 inches long. It weighs 1/30 of an ounce, less than a dime. The sun jellyfish is the world's longest animal. Sun jellyfish have tentacles over 200 feet long. They drag these poisonous filaments through the water to stun fish, which they then catch and eat. The largest kind of spider is the bird spider. The bird spider measures almost a foot across and has a poisonous bite. It spins a very strong web to trap the birds and large insects it eats. The cheetah can run faster than any other animal. A cheetah can reach speeds of over 60 miles an hour, but only for a few hundred feet. When it chases another fast animal, such as an antelope, the cheetah must catch it quickly. The electric eel gives the strongest shock of any animal. An electric eel can give a shock of up to 650 volts, over 5 times the voltage needed to light a standard household light bulb. That's enough electricity to give a serious shock to a horse or other large animal. The land snail is one of the slowest animals. Some snails can move only 8 inches in a minute. At that speed, the snail will need 5.5 days to travel 1 mile. Fortunately, the snail, with its hard shell, does not need to run away from danger. There are many kinds of large snakes, but the anaconda is the biggest. Anacondas can grow to be over 25 feet long and weigh 400 pounds. They wait in trees and drop onto their prey. A hungry anaconda can swallow a whole deer or goat. The flea is very small, but it is the world's best jumper. The flea is only 1/16 of an inch tall, but it can jump 8 inches into the air. That is about 130 times its own height. If a 5.5-foot tall woman could jump as well as a flea, she could leap to the top of a 65-story building. The Galapagos tortoise lives longer than any other animal. Galapagos tortoises can live to be over 150 years old, about twice as long as the average person can expect to live. The end. So I hope you enjoyed this nonfiction book. That's a book that's got lots of facts and information, so it's always fun to read those in addition to fiction or made-up stories. And our next story is called A Color of His Own by Leo Leone. He wrote the book and illustrated the pictures. And it's published by Scholastic Inc. Parrots are green, goldfish are red. Elephants are gray, pigs are pink. All animals have a color of their own, except for chameleons. They change color wherever they go. On lemons, they are yellow. In the heather, they are purple. And on the tiger, they are striped like tigers. One day, a chameleon was sitting on a tiger's tail, said to himself, "If I remain on a leaf, I shall be green forever, and so I too will have a color of my own." With this thought, he cheerfully climbed onto the greenest leaf. But in autumn, the leaf turned yellow, and so did the chameleon. Later, the leaf turned red, and the chameleon too turned red. And then the winter winds blew the leaf from the branch, and with it the chameleon. The chameleon was black in the long winter nights. But when spring came, he walked out into the green grass. There he met another chameleon. He told his sad story. "Won't we ever have a color of our own?" he asked. "I'm afraid not," said the other chameleon, who was older and wiser. "But," he added, "why don't we stay together? We will change color wherever we go, but you and I will always be alike." And so they remained side by side. They were green together, and purple, and yellow, and red with white polka dots. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Okay. I have a flannel story for you, and it's based on this very popular book. A lot of you might even have it at home, called Polar Bear, What Do You Hear? It's by Bill Martin Jr. That's who wrote it. It's illustrated by Eric Carle, and it's published by Henry Holt & Company. Polar Bear, what do you hear? I hear a lion roaring in my ear. Lion, what do you hear? I hear a hippopotamus snorting in my ear. Hippopotamus, what do you hear? I hear a flamingo fluting in my ear. Flamingo, what do you hear? I hear a zebra braying in my ear. Zebra, what do you hear? I hear a boa constrictor hissing in my ear. Can you hiss like a boa constrictor? Hiss. Boa constrictor, what do you hear? I hear an elephant trumpeting in my ear. Can you make a trumpet sound like an elephant? Oh, good job. I could hear you all the way in my house. Elephant, what do you hear? I hear a leopard snarling in my ear. Leopard, what do you hear? I hear a peacock yelping in my ear. Peacock, what do you hear? I hear walrus bellowing in my ear. Walrus, what do you hear? I hear a zookeeper whistling in my ear. Zookeeper, what do you hear? I hear children growling like a polar bear, roaring like a lion, snorting like a hippopotamus, fluting like a flamingo, braying like a zebra, hissing like a boa constrictor, trumpeting like an elephant, snarling like a leopard, yelping like a peacock, bellowing like a walrus. That's what I hear. The end. Okay. And I have one more story for you. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, turn that around. Okay. This is called Leo the Late Bloomer by Robert Krause, and pictures by Jose Arugo, and it's published by Scholastic Inc. Leo couldn't do anything right. He couldn't read. He couldn't write. All the animals are writing their names. Owl, elephant, snake, plover, crocodile. He couldn't draw. He was a sloppy eater, and he never said a word. Hoot, thrum, hiss, pip, crunch. Nothing for Leo. What's the matter with Leo? Asked Leo's father. Nothing, said Leo's mother. Leo is just a late bloomer. Better late than never, thought Leo's father. Every day, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. And every night, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. Are you sure Leo's a bloomer? Asked Leo's father. Patience, said Leo's mother. A watched bloomer doesn't bloom. So Leo's father watched television instead of Leo. The snows came. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. The trees budded. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. Then one day, in his own good time, Leo bloomed. He could read. He could write. He could draw. He ate neatly. He also spoke, and it wasn't just a word. It was a whole sentence, and that sentence was, I made it. Aw, good job, Leo. All right, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to do a goodbye rhyme called We Wave Goodbye Like This, and it goes like this. We wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye to all our friends. We wave goodbye like this. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I see you again next time. Bye-bye.